Hey folks, welcome back to another video. Every year when there's a Black Friday or Cyber Monday or whatever, which lasts probably, I feel, it feels like it lasts at least 2 weeks, there is this question among producers, do I need something? Do I need this synthesizer? Do I need this plugin? And so on. And the usual answer is you don't need actually nothing. You don't need anything. You can do everything with everything, but it's nice to have, and it's nice to have maybe a new toy in the DAW to get some inspiration. But there's not really a need to buy something, really. So I want to show you in this video that you actually have another synth in your DAW or in your setup that you maybe not know that you have it. And I want to show you how you can utilize it. And this is sampling. Sampling is actually the coolest synthesizer you have because it can be everything you want it to be. It can be your next analog synthesizer or your inspiration machine. And all you need to have is maybe a microphone. And you don't need to have even a nice microphone. For instance, I'm using here just a regular cheap microphone, something like this, right? But you can also use maybe a microphone in your display. Maybe you have a microphone in the display or on your laptop, or maybe you can use your smartphone. There's also a microphone in there. And it doesn't need to be a good sounding microphone, right? It's just that you can record something. And in here, I'm using an audio track, and I switch on here the input for my microphone I just showed you in the cam. So I'm using this here. And what I want to create is basically a recording of the feedback of the round trip. So I'm holding basically my microphone to my speakers to record the feedback. So I'm just hitting here record. And then I switch to my external camera. So you can see I'm holding just this microphone to my speaker, right? And record the feedback. So that's enough. And it's also nice that that we have here a nice high-pitched sound, because every time you pitch something down in the sampler, it sounds nice. So you can see we have here a nice waveform. You can maybe also use here the auto leveler preset for that. We get a nice level. Maybe turn the volume down so it's not too annoying. Get the auto leveler on there. Bring the threshold down. Okay, nice. Maybe something like this, and then bounce it out. Post fader. Or maybe let's call this here feedback. Bounce it. Or maybe I have to put this up. Post fader, yeah. So we can delete everything here, and we have a nice new sound here we can use in the sampler. So we go into the sampler, just drag this in, and try to find here the root key, which is G#7, 32 cents. And the pitch of the feedback is decided by your round trip latency. So how long it takes for the signal to go into the DAW, out of the DAW, through your sound card, through your speakers, into the microphone, and so on. So you can influence how high the pitch is, where you hold the microphone, how far you hold the microphone from the speakers. You can also decide how much room you want to have on the sound. So maybe you want to have more room texture from your room where your speakers are in. So you move away from the speaker with the microphone and then turn up the volume on the speakers itself to get the feedback running. And you can influence the sound, what you sample in the end. And the more dirt and room information there is in there, the better, probably, because it can shape the sound. It gives you that analog feel, right? So here we have this feedback sound. There's even a nice little modulation on there for some reason. And you can scan the wave for nice positions. And if you change the playback position here every time you press a key with maybe a random modulator, so the sound doesn't become too static every time you press a note. So go to note here, then to hold rate. And every time now you press a note, you randomize the position, the playback position here. And maybe you introduce also here at some point a loop, a region loop, something like this, maybe back and forth, and you can hold this. You can create some drones with it. And this basically is your analog synthesizer. You have a nice analog waveform, and you can record as long as you want to record it. So you have more material and it doesn't repeat that fast. But it's like your personal analog synthesizer. And it sounds sometimes even more analog than a synthesizer sounds, because you have so much dirt and conversions in there, because you convert between digital and analog and back and forth all the time. You get also all the feedback from the room in there, some reflections, maybe a bit of noise. You can also experiment with maybe holding some resonance plates in front of the speakers and try to, shape the sound a bit in an analog way and create unique sound forms, sound waveforms, and use it in the sampler and create unique sounds with it. So instead of using the feedback, we can also try and use maybe a synthesizer, like a polysynth, and kind of reamp it with our speakers. So we have here a polysynth, and we draw in maybe a kind of high-pitched sound because we want to pitch it down. Every time you pitch a sound down, you bring out all the dirt in the sample itself. So go up to maybe C5 here, something like this. And maybe we'd also take unison. Stereo field doesn't matter right now because we only have one microphone, a mono microphone, so we always record in mono. So I take this here. Maybe we also put on a reverb here, a supermassive. Maybe a bit of randomization here. We modify the pitch, or maybe we can use just a vibrato here. Go to manual, dial this back. And this is something we put out through the speakers and just record it back into the DAW. Put this over here. So we need a new audio track. This is my microphone 2. I want to record it. And I just hit play here. And that's a recording. So we take this. You can hear there's a bit of room information on there. So we can amplify this a bit here more, so we can see what's going on. Yeah, we have a nice kind of noisy signal here, right? So maybe put an auto level also on this. Threshold down. And then we bounce this out. Remove this, use a sampler. Put the sample in there. Maybe try find here the pitch, which should be C5, right? So C5 minus 5 cents, which is okay. Put the looping on. And then we can play it back some octaves lower. And we maybe also need randomization here for the offset, note and hold. And of course we need to modify here the offset. Maybe take here a bit of attack and release. And this is basically the polysynth with the reverb on it through my speakers together with my room, and the noise of the conversion and the noise of the room together in this new sample, which gives this nice analog feel. And it also sounds a bit like, yeah, sounds like an old synthesizer. So instead of buying, you know, expensive analog simulations, emulations, maybe try out the sampler. Use a cheap microphone. You can also use your smartphone and just record some sounds from your speakers onto your smartphone. Then, you know, load everything to your PC into the sampler, and you have a lot of dirty sounds, analog sounds you can experiment with. And the best thing about it, it's unique. It's unique because you have your own room. It's your, you know, your set of speakers, your smartphone microphone. So you have a lot of unique components combined, and it gives you a nice, unique sound in the end. So try this out. This is a really inspiring technique, and also a new way of bringing in organic feel to your sounds and to your productions. And I use it from time to time. Last time I did the stream, I used my Kalimba thing here, sampled it a bit, pitched it down. Right? So everyone has something at home where you can make music in an analog environment, sample it, and then make instruments out of it. So in this setup, I'm using my Korg analog synthesizer. It's a monologue, going straight into this cheap amplifier here. I think it's around 100 bucks, so it's not super expensive. And then I record this speaker here with my cheap microphone. And then I record this into Bitwig, and then I can sample this. So all I have to do is basically just play one sound on this analog synth and record it. So that's what we do. And because of this setup, you get all the dirt from the amplifier, you get the room in there, you get an analog feel from the synthesizer in there, and you can also sample as long as you want, because it's not like the 80s or the 90s where you had like a sample space of 2 seconds or even less. In Bitwig, you have all the space you want, and you can record as long as you want to get all the informations in there. So I'm switching here to Bitwig, and we have here my audio track. I select my microphone, is selected, and then I record something. So this is just the sound we need, and we clean this up a bit here, maybe to get the DC offset out there here with a low cut, maybe a high cut. Let's see, there's a lot of noise here. We only want this frequency here, or maybe I see it in a EQ5 banner. This is the main fundamental frequency here, and you get all this dirt in here, and you can cut this out if you want to, but maybe you want to leave it in. And then we also probably want to auto level this again. Get a nice balanced. Yeah, it's okay. Just this bit here. Bounce it out. Delete this. And use a sampler. Put this in the sampler. And then we use a randomize for the start offset here. Switch this to hold, free. And then also the deck tool key, which is C5. Hope this is right. Yeah, it's C5. You can hear there's a lot of modulation, pitch modulation in there already. So because the signal is completely mono, that's probably nice to have a reverb on it. When you recorded a lot of overtones or harmonics, maybe with the amplifier where you increase the overdrive, you can also use then here a bit of filtering to remove some upper frequencies. And sometimes I use just demo versions of VST instruments and reamp it or resample it through my speakers for the sampler, just one tone. You know, I just want to have a dirty sound. I don't want to replicate the synthesizer to 100%. It's just to get some noises in there, some tonal noises and some interesting analog unique waveforms. So this is my tip, my inspiration for today. Maybe you want to try it out when you got home from work, instead of just buying the next, synthesizer, because you already have probably 20 or 30. Try out the sampler. It's so fun to actually come up with some interesting analog distortions. Like I said, it depends on how you position your microphone, what you put between your microphone and your sound source, how long the latency round trip is, what kind of tonal sound you use, which kind of VST you use. Maybe you just use the feedback like I did before. So a lot of interesting experiments you can do to get some nice analog sounds. And like I said, you can sample as long as you want. So you can maybe sample up to 2 minutes and have a lot of interesting, unique analog modulations. And then you can jump around here in the waveform with the random modulator every time you hit the key. So you get every time a different feel for the attack. Okay, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Leave a like if you liked the video. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment if you have some questions. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching and bye.